Hello, I'm Simon.
And I'm Dan.
And this is the Wikicast, a podcast where Wikipedia takes us to a random article and we talk about what we find. Daniel, what are we talking about this week?
This week, Simon, we're talking about where the bears are.
Well, that's a lot of play. Oh, I know this one. The Arctic.
Close, but also quite far away.
Well, that is what the Arctic literally means. The Arctic comes from, I can't remember which language it is, but it's literally like place of bears. Arctos from Greek.
Love that.
Which is why the Antarctic is called the Antarctic, because it does not have bears.
Because there are no bears.
I love the idea that explorers
where
came
the bears
across...
aren't.
Where the yeah. I love the idea that explorers came across some land and went, well, there are definitely no bears. So, good to go with the name? Yeah, brilliant. Cheers. So where are the bears, Dan?
Well, can you guess what this Where the Bears Are article might be alluding to?
Is it a book?
It's not a book.
Oh, it sounds like a children's book.
Mm.
Is it a piece of media?
It is a piece of media.
Is it an album?
It's not an album.
Is it a TV show?
I'm going to give you TV show.
Okay.
Where the Bears Are is a comedy mystery web series that ran for 7 seasons from August 1st, 2012 to November 1st, 2018. The series creators were writers Rick Kopp and Ben Zook. Ben Zook, what a brilliant name. Star in the movie together with Joe Dillon. Oh, bloody hell, Siri. Shush. I've said something that set her off, bless her. And Joe Deitel?
Sure.
Described by the creators as a cross between The Golden Girls and Murder, She Wrote.
Oh my God.
The series focuses on Nelson, Zook, Wood... Oh, hang on. Nelson, Wood and Reggie, played respectively by... Oh my... Hang on, I'm sorry. Siri is pinging off. I just keep saying things and she's getting terribly excited. Hang on, I need to...
Hey, how can I help?
I need to do...
Hey, listen!
Hey, listen! How do I tell you to shush?
Looks like you need help writing a letter!
Turn off Siri. Yeah, good.
Hey, listen!
I was listening to one of their compilation videos of their impressions on the way to work the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just brilliant. It's so good.
Game Grumps is one of those resources that every now and again I go back to, like a compilation, and they're so good. Like, I mean, admittedly, if you produce that much media, you're going to have hits in amongst that. I suppose we're seeing like the concentrated Game Grumps and not the hours and hours and hours.
It's the extended discussion on Obama listening to their work.
Oh.
That kills me. It's so good.
Hey, Michelle, get in here. They're talking about me.
Do an impression of me.
Yes, that was meant to be both of our impressions of US President Barack Obama, in case people were wondering.
Brilliant. Anyway, back on track. Described by the creators as a cross between The Golden Girls and Murder, She Wrote, the series focuses on Nelson, Wood, and Reggie, 3 gay bear friends sharing a house in the Silver Lake neighborhood who, in each season, are drawn into a different murder investigation which plays out as a long story arc.
Is everybody else in the show an animal, like a bear, or are they just bears and it's never commented on that they are bears in a human town?
No, I think they mean bear as in the slang term for a type of homosexual man. I think that's true.
Well, that's less interesting. Well, I mean, okay, it's kind of interesting, but I would want a detective show about bears, damn it.
Where the bears are... I might just do a quick Google and see if there's a picture, because maybe they are bears.
I want them to be bears.
They're not bears.
Ah.
I can confirm.
I want it to be like that show within The Simpsons. Oh, God, what's it called? Gentle Mike or something like that, where it's like the bear with the microphone on its head.
Yeah.
A web series, that's something that you don't hear about all of that often, right? Like,
you really don't.
It was very much I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. Like the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. When I think of a web series, that's like what I immediately think of. Although you also have Dr. Horrible.
I think of iCarly.
Oh, okay, yeah, different strokes for different folks.
Well, you know.
Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog was a web series as well, I think. The one with Neil Patrick Harris. Oh, yeah, sorry, because I'm looking on the wiki for web series now. Like Red vs. Blue by Rooster Teeth. Lonely Girl 15. Sam Has 7 Friends. Yeah, there was like a real golden age. But yeah, it's kind of, I suppose, with the rise of Netflix, like this was the attempt for high production value video on the internet, right? And then the general production value of stuff on YouTube crept up, and big studios started releasing stuff on Netflix, and Amazon Prime and all that kind of stuff. This was like an intermediary step, I suppose.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So they've got 7 series, and it seems to have done relatively well. In the first season, the Bears are caught up in a murder investigation when they find a man dead in their bathtub the morning after Nelson's birthday party. The supporting cast also includes Ian Parks, Mario Diaz, Juliet. The season was presented as a series of 25 episodes, and a special Christmas episode was produced. Subsequently, a DVD was released of the series, re-edited into single continuous film. The DVD also featured the Christmas special as part of its 2-disc set, as well as bloopers and outtakes, deleted scenes, a feature-length commentary, and behind-the-scenes interviews with the cast and creators. The first season was named Best Gay Web Series of 2012.
Wow.
By both After Elton and the LGBT blog Queerty.
Oh, like QWERTY as in a keyboard, but with queer. That's quite a good name. I like that.
They did there.
Wow.
Yeah, so it seems to have done quite well. Maybe we have to watch it.
So hang on, if I wanted to watch it, where do I watch it?
I have no idea.
Is there like a link at the bottom?
Absolutely no idea. Maybe you have to buy the DVD.
Because that's the thing, right? Like when I think of web series, at least they used to be something that was like, they would be on their own website, right?
It's on Deku, the streaming thing, Deku, which you can get as an added subscription on Amazon Prime.
Right. Because, I suppose I'm now wondering whether web series are still a thing. It's just that they're so commonplace that we don't use the name for it. Like, they're just series. Like, is The Expanse a web series? Or is Elite? Or, and it's something that's originally produced for Netflix, I suppose is technically a web series. Like, it's, just a series of videos, long-form videos that form a narrative that are released online. Oh.
What an extraordinary thing. Season 2, Episode 2, Truth or Bear.
Good. Yeah. Love that.
Amazing.
Excellent work.
Well, I think we need to we need to watch this.
This is where my credentials are thoroughly exposed as being fraudulent. But so a bear is a older, hairy gay man? Is that correct?
Yeah, usually slightly larger as well. Larger and hairier.
Right. And then there are otters, which are like that but smaller.
Yes.
And then I'm aware of twinks. I know.
That's good to know. Well done.
I know they exist.
I'm aware of twinks. Can we isolate that and just have that as the next Instagram clip? Just you saying, I'm aware of twinks, listen to the Wikicast podcast.
Yes, we should probably talk about the Instagram, shouldn't we, actually? If you want to see 2 young twinks, then you can head to instagram.com/the Wikicast, which has been going for a couple of weeks now. And we were saying before we started recording, surprisingly popular.
Yeah, I think people are quite enjoying the short form stuff that's going up there. And it also, crucially, the regular readers of this podcast will be aware of the sign-offs for this podcast. Namely, and if you'd like to see our faces, check out our YouTube channel. Nothing has gone on that YouTube channel for a very, very long time, aside from the podcast episodes where you can't see our faces anyway.
Well, you can see a cartoon of our faces. But yes, I do agree.
Yes.
So if you want to see our faces, do check out the Instagram. And we'll be putting, as we've done a test so far, but we'll be putting clips from the show with a little waveform, maybe a bit of animation over the top of it. Because, I don't know, I think we both made a decision in the past couple of months to actually start taking this a bit more seriously. And like, hey, why don't we actually try and grow the podcast rather than it just being the same series of friends that come together and listen to us witter on for half an hour? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the internet's version of a WI meeting.
It really is. We're bringing sort of Victoria sponges and there's a village competition to see who's got the largest pumpkin or something.
I actually went to a Women's Institute meeting this week.
Really?
Yeah, I gave a presentation. So my old job.
You didn't open with this news.
I know. It's really up there in sort of headlines of my life that I was at the Keynsham Women's Institute. I was giving a talk because my old geography teacher is a member and she completely changed my life. And when she asked me, would I be willing to give a talk? I was just like, yeah, absolutely. And then realised what I'd done. So fast forwards to this week.
What did you talk about? The struggles, how hard it is to be a
twink.
A white male in 2023. Oh, twink, of course. Yeah.
No, I basically did a talk that I gave previously at a literary festival about the history of atmospheric science and sort of not very technical, but sort of introducing to a lot of concepts and a lot of history. But what was interesting was the audience was comprised, I'd say about a quarter of the audience was my old teachers. So my old French teacher, food tech teacher, geography teacher, several administrative staff members were there, and they all remembered me, and it was one of the most terrifying experiences of my life.
Yeah, gosh.
getting up there, and these people who you still think, and this is, nearly 20 years ago, I still think of as being basically, omniscient. These are the people that know what they're doing, and I don't. And it was really, really terrifying.
Good Lord.
But they all seemed to enjoy it, which was nice. And my mum was there. First time my mum's been able to come to one of my talks.
Brilliant. What did you do? Was there sort of tea and cake after the talk?
No, of all the vaunted WI, activities, no cake. I was promised cake, and none was forthcoming.
That's poor. That's very sad. Did you get a sort of a gift for doing the talk? Like, did they all chipped in and bought you a new doily for your sofa?
a sofa doily?
Yeah.
No, I really should have asked for something like that, actually. Or, I don't know, some particularly prized vegetables. I got the undying gratitude of my geography teacher. I was also paying her back for teaching me my geography GCSE in her spare time, because I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before, but I couldn't choose between history and geography for my GCSEs. So, and people outside the UK, that's the qualification you do at age 15 to 16. And she basically there was a moment when I was talking to her about this in the class, and she kind of pinched the bridge of her nose and was like, okay, fine, I'll teach you myself. And so at Wednesday lunchtimes, I did my geography GCSE with her, and then did the coursework and all this stuff on my own, and was able to do both subjects, which I then went on to do geography at A-level, and then I went on to do kind of a PhD in it, which wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Mrs. Frost.
Yeah, gosh. You did a PhD in it.
So yeah, that was pretty pog by Mrs. Frost at Wellsway School.
Hey, that's Giga Chad, man.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. I need to explain. So both the words pog, poggers, and gigachamp,
Yog
and just any of. So my partner and myself have suddenly got into using these turns of phrase quite a lot, but in really sort of not strictly appropriate sort of moments.
Yeah.
So we might be practicing singing the Benedictus for Schubert in G, because we've got a service coming up at the weekend, and we're both soloists for that. And she'll sing a really beautiful phrase, and it'll be very moving, and I'll turn around to her and go like, babe, that was poggers. I love it. I completely love it. It's brilliant.
It's like, wow, did you see that? Did you see the latest exhibition at the Tate Modern? It was bussin', no cap.
Yeah. Wow, that sunset is just chef's kiss.
I want more Gen Z cultural criticism.
Yeah.
What is this podcast at this point?
Oh gosh, I mean, I dread to think if we were to try and sort of categorize it. I mean, we also said that we were going to try and start taking this podcast more seriously, which I think it must be a contradiction in terms, because that
no cap. We're taking this more seriously. There are a lot of people for whom English is their second language. Although actually, I suppose, because a lot of people for whom English is their second language, they learn primarily from resources on the internet, right? Or like watching stuff on Netflix. Like, I suppose modern language and how it evolves in internet slang is actually quite easy to pick up. It may be easier to pick up if English is your second or third language.
Yeah, probably.
Because you don't have to overcome the conventions of, that's how you normally say it, but, ignore that. What we're going to say is poggers instead. Poggers. Really West Country.
Poggers. Ooh, me, that's poggers.
I've been introducing Pixel Wife to the Wurzels recently. Because
brilliant.
When I grew up, I had... it was in Scouts. There was a tape that we had in the minibus, which was called Never Mind the Bullocks. And it was the Wurzels covers of lots of popular songs.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know at the time were covers. I thought they were original Wurzels songs. So when I heard the originals, I was like, oh, wait, this is a cover of the Wurzels. This is worse. And it turns out, no, like, Rock DJ is not by the Wurzels. Or Tub Thumping.
Yeah, famously.
And songs like this. But I introduced Pixel Wife to this album, and she cannot stop listening to it. She's obsessed. For people that...
It goes hard.
For people that don't know, the Wurzels is a very West Country of England band. Their big hit was I've Got a Brand New Combine Harvester and I'll Give You the Key. But they've also done lots of other stuff. And the really she might kill me for saying this on the podcast. The really unfortunate thing is, the song that she's really latched onto is The Blackbird. Not the Beatles one. I don't know if you know this original song by the Wurzels, Dan.
I do very, very well. With a Gert Big Stick, I'll
knock him down. Blackbird Lavy.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing about this is every time Pixel Wife sings along, and she'll go, with a great big stick, I'll knock him down. Blackbird, a lobby, na-na-na-na-na, na-na-na-na-na. And then she'll turn to me and go, how's your father? And then it's like, oh
yeah.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Oh, oh bless her.
So, of all the songs you could have latched onto, it had to be that one.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Gosh. Yeah, that's not the best.
But from the ridiculous to the sublime, Dan, should we talk about your choral piece of the week?
Let's do it. And this will be my piece of the week. Drum roll, please. My choral piece of the week this week is it's new to me, and I think it's new to me.
I have terrible memory.
Yes, I just can't remember. I think there's a possibility I might have done it before, but as I say, really can't remember at all. But as I sort of alluded to earlier, I have a service to sing tomorrow at All Hallows Gospel Oak in London for Sunday the 28th of May, which is incidentally Pentecost. And one of the pieces that we're singing in that service is a piece by William Byrd, and it's Non vos relinquam orphanos.
Ooh.
And it's just Byrd doing really lovely things,
I'd never heard of it before either, I don't think.
It's lovely. It's it's quite short, but it's just marvellous. I think it's really, really nice. The translation of the text, Non vos relinquam orphanos, alleluia, I will not leave you comfortless, alleluia. Vado et venio ad vos, alleluia, I go and I will come to you, alleluia. Et gaudebit cor vestrum, and your heart shall rejoice. And it's just it's a very lovely, lovely piece, and it fits quite nicely with the it's the Magnificat antiphon for First Vespers at Pentecost. It's a setting of that text. From the Gospel according to John. It's just really brilliant and very nice, and we've got some other lovely music in there too. I think there's Come Holy Ghost by Margaret Atwood, is it? Is that right?
Isn't she an author?
Yeah, I think it's a different Atwood, isn't it?
She wrote Wolf Hall.
Come Holy yeah. Atwood.
Yeah, I think it's If You Love Me by Philip Pullman.
Yeah, by Philip Pullman.
I'm doing the Tolkien Requiem today.
Thomas Atwood. Margaret Atwood. God, she's talented. I had no idea. And Sherbet in G.
Lovely.
Yes.
Very sweet
so
piece.
That'll be a laugh. Yeah. The music really fizzes,
Da-da-da-da-da.
Somebody stop me.
Right, okay, let's take a quick pause and then we'll reconvene in Critic's Corner. So, Dad, I wanted to... Well, there's something actually which we alluded to earlier in the first section, which we don't have a name for the first section, do we?
No, I guess it's sort of like housekeeping, isn't it?
Wiki Corner? Well, it's when we talk about the article, apparently.
Yeah, another corner. This room we're in is extraordinary.
It's growing. Eventually, it's going to be a circle. There's just going to be infinite corners. Which was about Navi from Zelda. Have you played, or are you planning to play, the new Zelda game that's just come out? Because it's what everyone is talking about.
I really want to, but crucially, to do that, I need to acquire a Switch.
And
I really want one. I really want one. But I'm worried that if I do buy one, I don't know, I'm worried that my productivity is just going to sort of hit rock bottom, which I really can't do, having now started
a job.
What is quite an important job. Yeah, I've got a job, a barbaric job. And I think I'm not going to have huge amounts of free time. And if I do, it's probably important to be sort of prepping and making sure I'm on top of work, as opposed to, hey, listen,
Hey,
so
listen.
I need to...
Oh, go on. Go on, Dan. You know you want to. What that first paycheck, that sweet, sweet first paycheck you get from the new job, what's that going to go on? It's going to go on a Switch.
It actually came in yesterday.
Perfect. You could buy one on the podcast, Dan.
I've only been...
Do it.
I've only worked like a week and a half, and it was more money than I was expecting.
Well, I'm not going to complain about that.
Yeah, sort of like, oh, right, gosh, I've got to... The thing is, though, I do actually sort of need to buy things that I really need to get some sort of...
Like a Switch.
New shoes and a Switch. So, yes, maybe I will. Maybe I can find a sort of second-hand one or something.
Oh, surely. There'll be loads of second-hand Switches out there. The console's been out for ages.
Right, I'm looking right now. Are they going to release a new Switch, though?
I mean, I should... Because I've got one. I bought ours ages ago.
Yeah, because it's old. It's an old system now, isn't it, really?
Yeah, but it's... okay, apparently $300 seems to be, like, the RRP. Let's have a quick look.
Nintendo Switch 2. Rumours and everything we know so far.
You could get one bundled with the new game for, I think, £320 from Argos. Or it looks like you can get... I think the base console's $260.
Okay.
Do it, Dan.
Do it.
The thing is, I have Breath of the Wild, the previous game in the series, and I've never really got into it. I don't know what it is. I said this on the Slack for like the agency that I'm in. I think the problem is it's so open world that whatever I do, I fear I'm doing the wrong thing. And that because items have like durability, and so your weapons break and stuff like that, I'm just in this perpetual state of what if I'm doing the wrong thing? And the thing is, that's how I live my life every single day. And video games are meant to be escapism. So, I'm willing to give it another go. Maybe I just haven't really sunk my teeth into it enough. It's not really jived with me because I can't. Presumably, then, if you've not had a Switch, you've not played Breath of the Wild, but you watched the Game Grumps playthrough?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Switch sort of gameplay, and it looks great. And the sort of the console itself looks phenomenal, and to have something that's sort of portable again. I remember, this is going back a long time now, but I used to have a PSP. And that was great. I loved that. I had what was it?
Did that come with, was that discs? Did it use discs, the PSP?
It used weird discs, yeah.
Yeah.
Weird, like, mini discs. And then you could also you could sort of jailbreak it, right? And put in a memory stick and then launch things from the memory stick.
Right.
Memory stick? Why did I call it a memory stick and not a USB?
Oh, I know what you meant. Language is defined by, how could you get the concept across?
A memory stick is like what my parents call these things.
It's a flash drive.
I suddenly shuddered, like, what's happening to me?
Well, like that scene at the end of Indiana Jones where you see your skin starting to waste away. Like, what is happening to me? I'm becoming a boomer.
When my mother is typing on a laptop or something with a proper keyboard, the return key, she still to this day calls carriage return. As if she was on
God.
Now that's hardcore, right?
That is hardcore boomering right there.
Yeah.
That's the atomic bomb of boomers.
Carriage return. I know. Memory stick. What have you done to me?
I will stand by your memory stick. I don't think that's an uncommon name for it.
I don't know. It makes me feel old.
Memory card, though, when I think of memory cards, I still think of the things that go into, like, PlayStation 2s or GameCubes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember those.
Those things. Even though I use, SD memory cards, I still just call them SD cards, like, in cameras and stuff like that. Like, that part of my brain is like, nope, this is what this word means, and I am staying here. This is not changing for the rest of your life. You're going to be in a care home at the age of 85. When someone talks about a memory card, which will probably be some new thing, I'm still going to think, oh, you mean the thing that I sold the games of Time Splitters 2 on? Useless. My brain is useless sometimes, Dan.
Yeah. It sounds like they're going to be releasing a new Switch in the next year.
Oh?
According to leaked sources, they think that Nintendo are going to announce it when Sony announced the PlayStation 5 Pro.
Oh, right. So what, is it going to be a Switch Pro kind of thing?
I don't know, or maybe just a Switch 2, because the Switch console's over 6 years old.
Yeah, I was just reading that, actually, on my end. It was released in 2017, I think.
Hey, you can get Terraria on the Switch.
Honestly, Dan, I reckon just get a Switch now. Because if you didn't need a Switch in your life up until right now, you're not going to need a Switch Pro or a Switch 2 or whatever it's going to be, You could always sell it and then get a new one if you wanted.
I could, that's true. That's true.
And this way, you would be able to play Terraria, you'd be able to play Tears of the Kingdom. There's so many good games on the Switch. Because I have really enjoyed games on the Switch. I've really enjoyed the Mario Odyssey? Was the one that came out at release. That's excellent. The new Mario Kart is excellent.
Let's do a Terraria series, Simon. Let's do it.
Oh, I'd be up for that.
That would be so much fun.
Because, I have a Switch. We could do multiplayer stuff and put it on Spongy and Electric.
We could, right? Because you can you just need like a capture card, right?
Yep, I can record stuff from a Switch here.
This is interesting. Okay.
Especially if we picked a game where we were both on the same screen.
Yes. Like, do you remember what we used to play? Do you remember that weird... What was that called?
Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time.
Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time.
But that's on the Switch. I've got that, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I can justify it as a business purchase.
Oh, yeah, that's a business. 100%. That's a tax write-off, baby.
Yeah. Okay, all right. I'm going to do some research.
I'm such a bad influence.
Do it.
This is great. Do it, Dad, do it.
No, you will buy a Switch.
Don't drink that tea yet, Dan. Stew it.
Stew it.
Yeah, we're not going to go down that route. We're not going to go down that route.
So in the next week, I may or may not purchase a Switch. This is news.
Excellent.
Hot off the press.
Excellent
it's
news.
It's going to happen.
I've not been playing games really at all, actually.
No, I haven't played anything for months.
I've started streaming again a bit because obviously I've been taking time off with everything that happened with my dad.
Yes.
But I did a stream the other day, and I think actually I've already mentioned one of them. I'm thinking of streaming some GameCube stuff because I've got an emulator now. I was thinking of doing some Time Splitters, which is when was Time Splitters 2 released? I mean, that's got to be about 2003. Hang on, let's have a look. Time Splitters series. Give it a quick Google. 2002 Time Splitters 2 and 2005 for Time Splitters 3. Oh yeah, I want to do it. I'm going to start playing games again. I'm definitely going to play those, and I think I actually have access to Kerbal Space Program 2, which is now apparently playable. I don't know if you saw the debacle of the launch of that game, but it was dreadful when it first launched.
No, what happened?
It was it was basically unplayable. Like there were so many bugs, which were great gameplay bugs, but also graphical bugs, like the surface of like Kerbal disappearing. And parts like spinning around on your rocket, and it was. To be fair, I've just described half of the things that happened in Kerbal anyway, because the whole point is you're an incompetent rocket engineer.
I was going to say these things sort of happen, right?
But yeah, so I might be playing some of that. But yeah, it's just not. I don't know. I guess it's just a feature of getting older, really. But games have become less of a part of my life.
Yes. And
I'm actually more interested now in tabletop games like Warhammer than I am in computer games.
Yes.
Is that just an age thing?
I think maybe it is. I mean, I haven't really been playing anything at all. I don't know. I mean, certainly because now, I mean, my job involves looking at a screen all day. It's quite nice to come home and not look at a screen.
Yeah, you spend all day at work looking at bad screen. Can't wait to get home and look at good screen.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I say that. My partner would refute this because I get home and TikTok is properly it's like crack for me.
Oh yeah. I have to stay away.
I mean, it's really good. There's some absolute gold on there, but also I can blitz through like an hour easily just scrolling through TikTok.
I mean, the thing is, we could put the shorts that we have for the Wikicast on TikTok. I just don't have it. I don't want the app on my phone, basically.
Yeah.
And I haven't done content on TikTok because I wouldn't want people to download it in order to watch stuff that I've made, if that makes sense. Like, yes, I know there's obviously lots of people, you're there trying to get the people who already have TikTok. But, yeah, it's not a platform that I feel particularly comfortable about from a privacy concern side. And I know, yes, YouTube and Meta and all the big companies are exactly the same when it comes to harvesting data. It just so happens that TikTok is a Chinese company. It's just that I have a choice now. I have a choice about whether I want to open up an account with one of these big data harvesting companies. If you honestly gave me the choice 10 or 15 years ago, would I have actually opened up all of my accounts with those big American companies? I mean, the answer is probably yes, to be fair, because I've seen all the benefits that have come from that. Whereas with TikTok, what I see the benefit of is mild entertainment and wasting hours of my life.
Yes, yeah, that seems to be its sort of USP, really. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. I think as a platform, it can be used in a really brilliant way. If you look at sort of Hank Green, right, and his work. But then also, there's the side that it just takes hours of your life away.
Yeah.
Brutally. And then there's all the data processing sort of controversy and things. So
it extends pooping. You go to the toilet.
Oh, it does.
With TikTok. Suddenly you're there on the toilet for, I don't know, good 2 hours. That's...
Good 2 days, hours. Yeah, it's a dangerous thing.
But what you, I suppose, are going to be doing soon is you're going to be searching for a new house, right? Because your new job is in London.
Well, yeah, my new job is in Canary Wharf, of all places, which is which it's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Canary Wharf is like a resort. It's everything... It's all shiny and immaculately sort of landscaped, and my office is the third tallest skyscraper in the UK. My main office, I'm not there very often because I'm doing some consultancy work for an investment bank, and I'm often over there. But it's just a bizarre place. And Thursdays are hilarious because I think particularly now, sort of in this post-COVID age, and the opportunity and facility to work from home is now so commonplace. Nobody really works on a Friday anymore.
Really?
Well, rather, in the office, they work from home. So on a Thursday night, Canary Wharf is just a sea of businessmen with their ties off, shirt sleeves rolled up, surrounded by at least 7 pints of beer, and they're all going mad. I'll come out of the office and think, oh, maybe I'll have a drink. And I'm like, there is no way that I'm going to be able to get a drink here. It's just too busy, you know. Not to mention expensive.
I mean, I imagine Canary Wharf pints are very expensive.
Oh, it's crazy. I actually met up with Hugo Wickman.
Ah, Mr. Wickman, yes.
Mr. Wickman. And we had a drink after work one day. And we were having a drink. It was quite a nice place. Where did we got off at Liverpool Street Station, and there was a pub nearby, and then we ended up going to another pub after that in Farringdon called Ye Old Mitre, which is probably my favourite pub in London. It used to be owned by the Diocese of Ely, I think, or something. Anyway.
Oh, is this the one that's near Westminster Cathedral?
No, that's the Windsor Castle. But both very nice pubs. Yeah, Hugo ordered a double gin and tonic, and I ordered a pint of Estrella. Do you want to hazard a guess as how much I paid for those two drinks?
A gin and tonic and a pint of Estrella. Right, okay. So if you were a student in the UK, those two would probably set you back, or I don't know, a bit over a fiver, right? If you were in a normal town, I would hazard a guess at £8. I'm guessing it was over 10.
It was over 10. It was over 15.
What?
It was over 20.
What?
It was £22.
Oh my God.
Yeah, for a double gin and tonic. And the thing is, that's not even that crazy. That's sort of like...
That's criminal.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, I have been somewhere where a single drink, Duke's Bar in St James, where Ian Fleming famously stayed regularly when he was writing the James Bond books. They've got a very famous bar there, and they do similarly famous martinis. Maximum of 2 per person per day. 1 martini will cost you £22.
Bloody hell.
But that's in St James, which is very near Mayfair and London sort of hoity-toity clubland. But still, just a regular, like a house gin and tonic, double house gin and tonic.
Wow.
And a pint of a fairly inoffensive lager.
I like Australia.
£22. It's great. I think it's really nice. But I wouldn't, you can't justify it. That price is just ludicrous.
I remember, like, the unfortunate thing is my baseline is what I paid when I was an undergrad, which was outrageously cheap anyway. Like, at my college bar, so St Peter's College, Oxford, has the best bar in the university because it's student-run. It's the only one that's still student-run and owned. So the prices were dirt cheap. It was, I think, £1.40 for most pints, and it was £1.60 for something like Star of Ramen.
Yeah, but to be fair, when you started your undergraduate course, it was still pounds, shillings, and pence, wasn't it?
Yes, so... when I say it was £1.40 shillings. Yeah.
So adjusting for inflation.
It's actually hideously expensive. That's because in order to keep the beer cold, they had to drag the ice down from the mountains of Wales. But yeah, you're going to be house hunting soon. That's an exciting prospect, though. Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely not. Well, I doubt it's going to be house hunting. It will be like apartment hunting or a flat or something. You know.
I mean, what's your ideal? What's Dan Moore's ideal house/flat?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I think it's going to depend. I mean, I'll be starting in somewhere very, very small.
Yeah.
Because
of who you are.
It's just very well. Yeah, I knew you'd do this. I was going to say because it's very expensive, but yes, I am, as we've established, 4 inches tall. I don't know. I mean, there are places I know where I'd really like to be, but they're quite expensive areas in London, so I won't be living there for some time. But I currently commute in from, if I'm staying in London, I commute in from Battersea, which necessitates getting a train from Clapham Junction to Waterloo and then a Jubilee line tube to Canary Wharf. And that's fine. I can do that round trip when it's not too busy because I get up really early to sort of try and beat the rush. Sort of, I'm getting up at 6:30, 6:45. Mm-hmm. It's like 40-minute round trip. And it's really lovely in good weather. And the weather in the UK at the moment's been stunning.
It has been gorgeous, yeah.
So it's a real joy.
We're recording this in full sunlight. We're closeting ourselves away for the readership of the podcast.
But I don't know, I like Clerkenwell is really quite trendy. Pimlico I really love. I think I'd ideally like to be sort of north of the river and reasonably close to the city of London, right? So, if I was in somewhere like Pimlico or Westminster or, but they're all ludicrously expensive. So that's probably not going to happen. But it is a very exciting prospect to be thinking about, at some point having to look for a flat to rent and being in London.
We should get you on a property pro, get you on location.
Yeah. Or something like more likely for the kind of place I'll be buying, a spin-off of like Cash in the Attic, but it's just like Dan in your attic.
Who would live in a shoebox like this?
I sort of fly through the window, hummingbird style.
Yeah, you're in the background of other people's property searches programs.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's a Danmore up there. He is nesting
yeah.
up on that small shelf.
They're actually protected, so you won't be able to do the house renovations you want. It's like when you find bats.
And he's forming a nest out of, I believe, he's gone back in and he's bringing in pieces of choral music that he's scrunching up and making into a nest to sleep in. Isn't nature beautiful?
Speaking of bats and TikTok earlier, I saw a very funny TikTok of a TikTok a guy had made where there was some sort of flapping and crashing around in a shed that he could hear. So you see him sort of walking over to his shed and you can hear this sort of flapping around, and he sticks his head into the shed and then his head appears out again and he sort of says to his partner or something, "Oh honey, there's a bat trapped in the shed." And then it cuts to inside the shed and it's a guy in a full Batman costume going, "Alfred, help me, Alfred."
God's sakes. Silly Daniel.
It's very silly. It is very good.
Well, speaking of silly, should we go and have a look at Patreon's user interface?
Let's do it.
Expert segue.
Oh, we love that. Professional. Slick.
That's why they pay us the big bucks. On patreon.com/the Wikicast. God, I'm good. Top lad. So we find ourselves in Patreon Corner. This is the part of the show where we thank the lovely people who make the show possible, who have been paying for our hosting, for our lovely editor, Fergus. And we do actually need to, once we finish the episode today, Dan, let's talk about dates for you to come over to Bath so we can talk about recording. We'll pay for those train tickets that Dan will be using. And how can people support us on Patreon?
Dates for you to come over to Bath. I showered this morning. How dare you?
Yeah, at £1 a month, just make sure that Dan actually has a bath. It's
yeah, bird bath, obviously.
That's a requirement for your new apartment. It has to have a bird bath.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the flat doesn't come with a bathroom. However, there is a lovely stone bird bath on the balcony.
Dan preens his feathers and there flicks his hair back. I love that.
Silly.
So, Dan, how can people support us on Patreon?
Well, you can head over to patreon.com/the Wikicast and you can support at various tiers, but most crucially, you need to decide whether you are Team Cat or Team Dog, whether you are a member of the Church of Clark-Catholicism or a member of the Church of Mormonism. If you choose the top tier for a mere $5 a month, we will read out your name for every episode to say an enormous thank you to supporting us. The money that we bring in to support the podcast goes to such marvellous causes as...
Courses?
Causes.
As entry?
What I did there was...
Henley.
I took the idea of a cause and then just added a little equine sort of je ne sais quoi, you know?
Oh my god, this is one of those episodes. I'm losing it, Dan. I can feel my soul leaving my body.
It's really unhinged. It's right on a knife's edge, isn't it? Between just about possible to put out onto the internet.
The readership has been at home eating cereal, and the spoon is somewhere between the cereal and their mouth, and it's been there the entire time. They're just waiting to see if we're going to crack. The tension is unbearable.
Oh, we're close. It goes to such marvellous causes as paying for our glorious editor, Fergus, and paying for our hosting, and a multitude of other things that we'll be announcing later in the year.
And as such, I would like to thank the people who are our top cats, which would include Isabella.
Who are our Tolkien.
No, don't. I am so on the edge.
Go on, break him.
Oh, I at the best of times, my psyche is held together with like duct tape, elastic bands, and a hope and a prayer. Like this is, you're stretching the tolerance of sellotape to its limits. Okay, I would like to thank Isabella, Rents Kirk, Lexi at Front Desk's arch enemy, Dan Hanvey, James S, Christopher Betterton, Simon P, Nafi Iftikhar, Oliver Burkhart, Colb Mansfield, the Kyrene on Caffeine, Izzy CC, I'm going, Dan, I can feel it. I can feel it, Dave.
Strap in. Here we go.
Anna Reifer, Nathan Flaherty, Dame Valerie III, Layla Medina, Jack Easton, and Will Jennings Humphreys.
Well done. I'd like to say an enormous thank you to Jay Wright, Ben McMurtry, Peter Reed, Codzo, Colin J. Brown, Lexi at Front Desk, Hasse Hansen, Henry VII, King of England and of France, Lord of Ireland, Aaron Jorgensen, Naflarok, Andrian with an N, Chan, Ben Caples, Martin Narciso, Christian from the Alps, Lexi at Front Desk's Boss, Amy Bonney, Sophie, Karnav, and Dan Nelson. Thank you so much for your support.
And now on with the rest of this accursed show. And we find ourselves coasting in to the harbour. It's like the end of the Blues Brothers. Like, the car is all but falling apart. We just got all it's going to take is one slam of the car door and everything, not just the wheels, but everything will fall off the podcast. We're in Correspondence Corner, and I have an email here from Faith Jones titled Episode 117. Hi, Simon. I have just listened to the Into the West episode of the Wikicast, having been a long-term listener, and I wanted to send an email of support for you during such a difficult time. I don't have the right words, but I'm thinking of you and your family as you learn this new way of being. I'm also in the process of losing my dad to long-term illness at the moment, and I've struggled with feeling alone in this process. Thank you for speaking about your dad and your grief so openly in the podcast. Again, I don't really have the words, but it simply made me feel less alone. Take care, Faith. Well, thank you very much, Faith, for that message. And I think something which I said in the eulogy at my dad's funeral, and I think something that we've tried to embody in this podcast, is that my dad was definitely someone who didn't take himself terribly seriously. And one of the things that I implored people to do at the end of the eulogy was to go and do something silly. And I think by doing something silly, we are keeping his sort of personality, his spirit alive. And so I wanted to talk about the process of him in this podcast, yes, but I also didn't want to change what the podcast was last episode, or this week. This email comes at the end of a very silly episode, or so it feels, and I think that's something that Dad would really appreciate. I think every case of losing a parent is going to be completely different. And I think your mileage may vary, basically. What's worked for me may not work for you. But I think the thing that you've got to hold on to is who your dad is and how they have affected you, and be conscious of that fact and keep embodying what they mean to you in how you live your life. And part of what my dad means to me, and continues to mean to me, is that silliness. And that's partly why we do this podcast. It's to be silly and make stupid jokes, and just to be mates with each other in a format that other people can enjoy. So being open about it, and having what to some may have felt like a bit, I suppose, of like emotional whiplash, is part of that.
Absolutely.
But I'm very sorry to hear of what's been happening with your dad, Faith. We are thinking of you, and I'm sure that the readership would join me in saying that. And I hope that we can provide some silly distraction in the coming weeks and months.
We can certainly provide distraction. That we're very, very good at that.
Yeah, mostly to ourselves. We're the equivalent of a dog chasing its own tail.
We also have an email here from M, and they write, Dear Simon and Dan, I've been meaning to write in for a while since your episode on wacky sports, but after your request for more correspondence on the last episode, I thought I'd get my act together and actually write something. Here's hoping I'll be a bit more on it when it comes to writing up the PhD. Ooh, writing on the PhD.
Who would do that?
I'm not sure.
What kind of idiot?
Not sure it counts as... I'm not sure it counts as wacky, but my definitely unconventional sport of choice is wheelchair basketball. Ooh.
I'm in awe of people that play wheelchair basketball and wheelchair rugby. It is absurd.
What could be better than strapping yourself into a solid metal contraption with wheels and a bumper on it, speeding around while handling a basketball and attempting not to crash into people and aggressively getting in other people's way with your wheelchair? It's a very good question, Em. I don't know. I don't think there is anything better.
I'd be up for it, Dan. If we had an opportunity to play wheelchair basketball, I would be so up for it.
Yeah, me too, actually.
And yes, I would spend half an hour just trying to ram you off the court.
There's no running involved. Now, this is pod racing. There's no running involved. And when you get to shout "wee" really loudly as you speed around the court, if that's your thing, contrary to preconceptions, you don't need to be disabled to play. Lots of wheelchair basketball clubs are open to able-bodied people as well. If that sounds in any way fun, I'd invite the readership at large to look up their local team and have a go. I'm currently the captain.
What? Where did that come from?
I think because I saw the word Oxford and put them together. I'm currently the captain of the Oxford University team. And if you or any readers know membership of the university is required to join the team, are ever in Oxford on a Monday evening and want to try something new, we'd be happy to put you through your paces. On a completely different note, I'd be well up for that. That sounds great.
Because I go to Oxford every now and again for work, and you've got parents there. Maybe we could make that work. Ooh.
On a completely different note, given both of your musical prowess, I was mildly horrified by your pronunciation of Bryn Terfel's name. There you go. Once more for you, Em.
No.
In Welsh, the F symbol is sounded as V, so you need to spell FF to get an F sound. The first minute of this video, and Emma's very kindly linked a video, features the man himself explaining how to say his name and slightly dunking on people who go down your route. Thanks, or should I say... Diolch yn fawr, right? That's a V, isn't it?
Well, it's an F, but it's a V. It's like Spanish. It's weird.
Yeah, for the non-10 M. 4.55... What? 5.4581.
You can do it, Dan!
Ironically of Wales. Come on! Okay, I'm going to listen to Bryn saying this.
Yeah, hang on, I'll do the same.
Terfel. There you go. This is good knowledge. I didn't know that. I had no idea.
I've lived really quite near Wales for quite a while, and I didn't know that either. So, Em has done a great service to the podcast by picking us up on this.
Verily, verily.
So, thank you, Em. And also, doing wheelchair basketball.
That sounds fun. I'd like to do that.
We may need to try and make this work.
Yeah. Okay, and we may be in touch to organise a time mutually convenient. Let's do it.
So, Dan, what have we learned today?
Today, Simon, we learned about where the bears are.
Oh, yes. I'm aware of bears.
I completely forgot about that.
I'm aware of bears and twinks.
Yes, you certainly are. Where the Bears Are is a comedy mystery web series that ran for 7 seasons from August 1st, 2012 to November 1st, 2018. Obviously.
Of course. I still think it would be better if they were actual bears. I'm just going to be on the record as saying that.
What, like bear bears?
Yeah, bear, like Ursus bears.
Like Care Bears, but bear bears.
Every time there's a murder and you just get a bunch of, four actual, grizzly bears. I don't know, we could have different bears. We could have a panda bear and a grizzly and a polar bear. And they don't speak.
And a gummy?
They don't. They still just roar at each other, but they still find a way to crack the mysteries. It
would make for a really quite unimpressive, unchallenging murder mystery because all it is just bears going around killing people.
No. The bears. Here's the twist though. The bears are solving the murders, but one of them definitely also did it the entire time. One of the bears just has blood on their claws. And
brilliant. Yeah.
And they've got little police outfits on,
You went a bit Yoda there.
Yeah. Funny joke.
Funny joke.
Stay on target, Dan. Stay on target. We're so close.
Good Lord.
This podcast is shaking itself apart.
It's like our old washing machine. Do you remember that?
Yes. Dan and I's washing machine needs to threaten to take off and just burst through the outside wall of the house.
Hey, that could be a video for the Instagram.
Oh, that classic video that we have of us from in front of it.
Yeah, maybe we'll
see if you can if you can find it, put it on the Instagram.
Yeah, okay. I'll have a look and see if I can find it.
We talked about the Instagram.
We did. We spoke about my choral piece of the week, Non Vos Relinquam Orphanos by William Byrd, I believe.
Yeah, we talked about some gaming, about Zelda, and how Dan has literally bought a Switch during this recording of the podcast.
Indeed. And wheelchair basketball.
Yeah.
The greatest.
The tail end of this podcast was again, just chaos. I think this is either one of our best or one of our worst episodes, and I genuinely can't tell.
I don't know what. I think it might be the sort of weather or something. You know, when kids in the playground, in windy weather, they all go a bit mad.
What?
Small children. Do you know this? This is a thing.
No.
Yeah, teachers say this all the time. I've got teacher friends who are like, oh yeah, it's going to be a nightmare today because it's windy.
It's heckin' windy. Well, no, I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, it's a thing. You speak to Pixel Wife about this. I'm sure she'd agree with me.
I mean, okay. When I was a kid, I didn't play outside. I was in the library every break and lunchtime. So maybe I just missed out on this behaviour. Like, I'll ask my wife.
Okay. There is a known phenomena that primary school children go a little bit crazier in very windy weather.
Oh, only primary school?
Well, it'd be slightly alarming if there were older children in a playground like that. But yes.
Right, okay, that was so close to finishing this and putting this thing in the ground. Let us know if you thought this was one of our best or one of our worst.
Extraordinary.
That's all for this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to us on your podcasting service of choice, join the Discord, and if you'd like to see our faces, check out our Instagram.
Really good. Didn't draw attention at all to the fact that we changed that script.
No, I think I got away with that. I definitely didn't sound.
If you'd like to see our
unhinged.
faces, check out our Instagram.
Wow!
Zany, wacky.
YouTuber shocked face. That's all for this episode.
Should I get a Switch? Wheel scare.
Oh god, the wheels down. I can see a wheel has detached from the podcast. It's running down the hill.
The wheels on the bus, on the Wikicast bus, are in.
Oh, over there, and in that hedge.
Should I get a Switch? Wheelchair basketball stories and other thoughts on the show can be sent to us at spongyelectric@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Join us again for another tumble down the wiki rabbit hole, and we'll see you next time.
What can we have for thoughts?
Reviews of should I get a Switch? Windy childhood stories. I don't know.
Windy, what, Gassy Kids?
Yeah, Gassy Kids. That's sung by Elbow. Gassy kids on the corner again.
Dear God. Oh no. I was doing so well.
They're settling like crows.
For God's sake.